We at TripleJump are no experts on anything, but we have it on good authority that video games are hard to make. Oh, revelation. A lot of time, effort, and above all, money go into the development of even the smallest of games, so it's no surprise that these things take years to perfect. But how long is too long? Development hell is a phrase people use to describe those projects which have languished in the fires of creation for so long that fans have started to worry whether they even existed to begin with. These are the games that, at the time of writing at least, appear doomed to never come out, those that have teased us for so long, it's no longer funny. Now, there is always a chance that some of these games will eventually see the light of day. A handful of the games on similar lists have certainly proved us wrong, but I certainly don't think you should be holding your breath. I'm Peter from TripleJump, and here are 10 upcoming games stuck in development hell. Number 10, s.t.a.l.k.e.r 2 Heart of Chernobyl. Starting this list is a game whose developers insist it is still coming in early 2024, but considering the fact that the game has been in production since 2010 and its latest gameplay demo was seen as a big visual downgrade by fans, we're not holding out any hope. Despite being originally announced in 2010, the first version of s.t.a.l.k.e.r 2 was cancelled a year later and its development studio, GSC Game World, was shut down. Thankfully for fans of radiation-flavoured horror shooters, the studio was resurrected in 2014 and began work on s.t.a.l.k.e.r 2 in 2018. Unfortunately, progress has been slow as technical hiccups and a change of engine has set things back, but in this case, the developers can hardly be blamed. The war in Ukraine, where GSC Game World is based, has had a massive negative impact on both the production of the game and the lives of its developers. Yet, despite the devastation and upheaval, the developers are still hard at work and won't let anything stop them from achieving their dream, not even a literal war. Even though this game has been wading through development hell for some years now, we're hopeful s.t.a.l.k.e.r 2 will fight itself out into the light soon. But more importantly, we hope its developers come out okay too. Number 9, Abandoned. Abandoned, the game that for a month or two took the internet by storm, only to disappear just as quickly as it arrived. Announced in April 2021 with little fanfare on the PlayStation blog, something about this game spoke to the internet sleuths and conspiracy theorists alike. Perhaps it was the cryptic nature of the teaser trailer, or just the fact that it looked so fake, but whatever it was, something didn't sit right. Digging deeper, these sleuths discovered that developer Blue Box Studios founder Hasan Kahraman shared the same initials as Hideo Kojima, and get this, Kahraman and Hideo can both be translated to hero. Was this a clue that Abandoned was secretly a revival of the cancelled Silent Hills game? Was Hideo Kojima pulling another fake studio stunt as he did with Metal Gear Solid 5? No, he wasn't. Fun as it was at first, this little conspiracy theory went too far, resulting in hate mail and death threats being sent to both Hasan and Hideo following their confirmation that Abandoned had nothing to do with Silent Hills. Since then, teasers, trailers, and even a playable prologue have been hinted at, yet neither hide nor hair has been seen of any. And here comes the obvious, and we can only hope that this game has not been, you all saw it coming, abandoned. Okay, let's do number 8. Number 8, Squadron 42. Has anyone checked on the developers at Cloud Imperium Games recently? Are they okay? They've been working on both Star Citizen and its standalone single-player spin-off, Squadron 42, for over a decade now, yet neither game is any closer to release. Have they gone stir-crazy, cooped up in there for so long? Are they still alive? Seriously, someone ought to just go have a look. Star Citizen, envisioned as a truly behemoth multiplayer space combat and trading simulator, was announced way back in 2012 with a, shall we say, optimistic release date of 2014. Squadron 42, initially proposed as the single-player component of Star Citizen before morphing into its own standalone title, was set to release the same year. But when 2014 sailed past with nary an update, fans started to worry, especially those who'd paid into the game's Kickstarter and had set their sights on exploring new horizons. Even with so much money and support behind it, as well as voice talent from the likes of Gary Oldman, Andy Serkis, and Gillian Anderson, the title was delayed indefinitely, that's a quote, in 2018. Recently, hopes have been rekindled, but seeing as there hasn't been a true update since 2020, you'd have higher hopes surviving the vacuum of space. Still, for those in need of something to scratch that spacefaring itch, there's always Starfield, right? Number 7. Star Wars Eclipse. A choose-your-own-adventure style Star Wars game set in the High Republic era with real choices and consequences? Yes, please! It's being made by Quantic Dream. Never mind. Whatever you think of David Cage, though, it's certainly a shame that other than a cinematic teaser trailer, we've heard nothing about this game since its announcement during the 2021 Game Awards. From the studio that brought us the totally realistic and not on-the-nose Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, Eclipse is set to feature an original story with entirely new characters, each with their own branching paths and narratives. Unfortunately, while the premise and trailer certainly got our hopes up, both Eclipse and Quantic Dream are not in a good place right now. In December 2021, the company announced that the game was still, quote, 3 or 4 years off, but later unconfirmed reports have suggested it's been hit with multiple delays and won't grace PCs and consoles until 2026 at the very earliest. This, coupled with allegations of a provocative and bigoted culture of harassment within the studio, have eclipsed, see what we did there, any actual updates and news on the game. It seems like rebels without Death Star plans, Eclipse doesn't have a hope. Number 6. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. After a proposed Prince of Persia reboot was reworked into the Ubisoft moneymaker that is the Assassin's Creed franchise and stole the limelight, the series had apparently been put out to pasture. So, fans were over the moon when it was announced that The Sands of Time was being treated to the full remake experience. Expectations plummeted back down to earth though when they got a glimpse of the trailer. The graphics, character models, animations, and, well, everything looked like something from a game released 10 years ago, and nothing close to a modern-day AAA release. Fan backlash was so bad that development was taken away from Indian studios Ubisoft Mumbai and Pune and handed over to Ubisoft Montreal. Since then, development has tapped into the Sands of Time themselves and rewound all the way back to the conceptual stage, with the team scrapping all previous work and starting from scratch. While they say this is a response to fan feedback to figure out the best way to modernize the 20-year-old classic, it comes as a slap in the face to the original team and the fans who were hoping to get their hands on this anytime soon. Can the Sands of Time escape its fate, or is it doomed to forever relive a cycle of scrappings and restartings? At least we've got Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown to look forward to in 2024. Number 5. The Witcher remake. Once the golden company that could do no wrong, CD Projekt Red has had a rough time of it of late, namely due to the car crash that was the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. Since then, they've been slowly clawing back the goodwill they lost, but it's clear they've learnt their lesson and won't put a new game out before they're certain it's ready. This is probably why nothing new has been seen regarding The Witcher remake, despite the fact it was slated to be released in late 2023. Envisioned as a complete rehaul of the original game in the series, the daunting task of reimagining Geralt's first digital foray into monster hunting as a story-driven open-world epic on Unreal Engine 5 was given to Polish studio Fool's Theory. While they've worked on the likes of Divinity Original Sin 2 and Baldur's Gate 3, the company has not yet produced a game all of their own. They may have gotten themselves in over their heads, as literally nothing has been shown off to the public so far, not even a screenshot. We know that CDPR had to bring the work on The Witcher 3 next-gen updates back in-house, and we wonder, have they had to do the same thing here? All we can say for sure is, like a Leshen caught in an Earden trap, this remake isn't going anywhere fast. Number 4. Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark was once a household name for the N64 and Xbox, and while it wasn't as big as the likes of Halo, it had more than its fair share of fans. So it's strange there hasn't been a release since 2010, and even stranger that while a reboot of the series was announced in 2020, we've heard nothing since. The game follows secret agent extraordinaire Joanna Dark as she takes on the might of sinister corporations hell-bent on ruining the planet with their experiments on bizarre alien technology and superpowers. The series was loved for its intriguing single-player campaigns and hectic multiplayer shootouts, and the reboot will reportedly take things one step further with its ravaged setting and gameplay which allows players to jump over and slide under objects in the environment. A shame then that more than 5 years in development and 3 years since being officially announced, the game has nothing to show for itself but a CG trailer. The rest is shrouded in secrecy. Unless Perfect Dark lives up to its protagonist's skills and sneaks up on us unannounced, it's safe to say that we won't be seeing this one for a long while yet, if at all. Number 3. Hollow Knight Silksong. Fans of tough-as-nails Metroidvania gameplay and cute cartoon bugs the world over rejoiced when Hollow Knight developers Team Cherry announced they were working on a sequel back in 2019. But like a fly caught in an old spider's web, the lack of any real updates means fans feel like they've been left out to dry. Set to star fan-favourite NPC Hornet as the main protagonist as she's kidnapped and whisked away to the far-off kingdom of Farloom, the game will apparently play similarly to the fast-paced Souls-like action of the first game, only on a much bigger scale. Silksong was originally conceived as a DLC expansion to Hollow Knight, but when development took off, the increasing scope of the project quickly saw it transition into a standalone sequel. Unfortunately, it seems that developers may be suffering from scope creep, as the vision for their game has grown well past what was originally planned. From 2019 to the first half of 2022, there were no updates on its progress at all, but in June of 2022, a new trailer was shown off at the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase. However, all that really did was raise fans' hopes for a game that may never be let out from under the rock it's been hiding beneath for all these years. Number 2. Skull and Bones. When capitalizing on a trend or a killer new idea, it's usually best to get your project out there while said idea is still fresh. When Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag struck gold back in 2013, fans were eager to live out their Pirates of the Caribbean dreams and get their hands on more of the game's unique take on swashbuckling action. And Ubisoft were just as eager to take their money. Ubisoft Singapore, therefore, began work on Skull and Bones, an open-world pirate sim set to expand on everything Black Flag did right, but despite the tech and the audience being right there, the game still hasn't been released 10 years on. Perhaps the developers stole a chest of ancient Aztec gold, because if any game has ever been cursed, it's this one. Skull and Bones has reportedly cost Ubisoft more than $120 million, has been scrapped and restarted countless times as the concept shifted from naval exploration in the Caribbean to island-based survival in the Indian Ocean and more, and is now onto its 4th creative director. For something that seemed so obvious back in 2013, just do Black Flag but with more pirates, the game has lost all sense of identity and direction. We fear that this one may be lost to Davy Jones' locker. And number 1, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Sometimes all it takes is one bad preview to sink a game. Oh, I should have used the sync pun in the previous entry, shouldn't I? God damn it! Despite gearing up for release back in February 2023 and hoping to hit the ground running with an in-depth look during Sony's State of Play showcase, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League instead fell flat on its face. Story, gameplay, and co-op were all shown off with premature confidence as, boy oh boy, fans were not happy with what they saw. Developers Rocksteady are known for developing titles with real heart and passion, like their Arkham series, games made with respect for gamers. None of that was present here though. Instead, what was shown off was a mess of tedious missions, arcadey shooting, and live service intrusions, such as requiring an internet connection when playing even in single-player mode. Despite having been delayed multiple times already up to that point, almost immediately following the showcase, the game was delayed again to a tentative 2024. While the developers were told this was not a response to fan backlash, and a year is not enough time to rehaul a game's core mechanics, it's still clear that the suits were definitely panicking, and something had to be done to try and save this train wreck. For such a beloved company, this was a terrible fall from grace. And frankly, even though I think this is one that will definitely come out one day, Suicide Squad seems so far gone that maybe it'd be better off staying in development hell forever. I doubt even a decade of delays could fix it.